Hello, my fantastic fanatics. This is your man, Dr. Usher, coming at you live from our studio with another interesting topic. Another interesting topic. Today we're going to be discussing critical race theory and what your response as a Christian should be. I hope to answer three big questions that is on everybody's mind, because I'm telling you, this critical race theory is a big deal. And there are three big questions on everybody's mind, and I hope to answer those three big questions right now. So here are the first of the three big questions. The first question I'm going to answer, and first I will explain what is critical race theory. I'm going to try to explain it as simply as possible. What is critical race theory? Second, I'm going to discuss whether or not there are any ramifications for teaching it. Because, everybody wants to teach it in the school. So I'm going to give you some information on whether or not there are going to be ramifications if it's taught in school or whether we should even teach it in school. I'm not going to give you my point of view. I'm just going to share with you the facts. And third, I'm going to share with you how you as a Christian should respond to it. But before I begin, as I always do, I want to thank all of you guys who wrote in asking me to address this issue. I know that it's hard to find someone who will tell you the facts without any ulterior motives. I hope that my explanation will be 100% truthful and transparent. And I know, and I stand, and look. I know that people aren't going to like my position, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to stand firmly behind my research, and I will defend this information that I'm going to share with you on this video. Okay, guys? That's how firmly I believe that I'm telling you the truth. Because I don't have anybody putting money in my back pocket. I am 100% community supported. If you don't give, I still teach. If you give, I still teach. And you giving does not change what I'm about to say. Because my goal is someone has to tell you guys the truth. Because there's too much crap going on the radio stations. So, Dr. Usher, I'm just going to tell you guys the truth, just like it is, because that's what I do. So let's begin. First, what exactly is critical race theory? It is a theory that seeks to explain how white people used our governing systems, like laws, to oppress and hinder BIPOC folks. And you might not have caught what I just said. You might be like, BIPOC folks? What are you talking about? Okay. BIPOC folks. I use the term BIPOC folks. Yes, I said BIPOC folks. And you might be asking, what in the world does BIPOC folks mean? I'm going to break it down for you. BIPOC folks is spelled BIPOCFOLX. It means black, indigenous, people of color. See, a few years ago, people started using POC, people of color, to describe all peoples of color. But because of a few people that felt like it eliminated the acknowledgement of the existence of black people and Native Americans, they coined this new word called BIPOC folks. And that word includes anyone, except white people. So if you're white and you see this phrase, BIPOC folks, it ain't talking about you. That's just how it is. Don't get mad at the messenger. I'm just stating the facts. And folks is spelled, you think folks is spelled F-O-L-K-S. Nope. They changed the way, the spelling of the word folks to F-O-L-X. Not K-S, L-X. Because the X is inclusive of everyone, regardless of their gender identity. Okay, now, I jumped off that rabbit trail. Let me get back on track. Now, let me get back to explaining to you what critical race theory is again. Again, it is only a theory that attempts to explain how white people use our governing systems and laws to oppress and hinder BIPOC folks. Some examples of this is Jim Crow, and Jim Crow laws and segregation. However, It is also used to explain, now pay attention, it is also used to explain how white politicians only care about equality when it is beneficial to them. In short, if there is no benefit, then there's no change. One example that critical race theory exposes is the perceived democratic push for civil rights. In short, the only reason why they cared about civil rights of minorities was because it benefited their political career and enabled them to remain in power. Now listen, folks, my BIPOC folks and my white folks. These are not my words. What you're hearing me say, what I just said, is not my personal opinion. It's actually written in critical race theory. Go look it up. It's there. This is exactly what critical race theory teaches. This is also true for human rights, also known as LGBTQ or gay rights. According to critical race theory, the only reason why human rights is such a powerful topic today is because there's a political benefit. It keeps those who wish to do the most harm in power. In short, politicians have never had a change in their heart or their personal views or on BIPOCs or any other group, the QT BIPOCs, which is the queer and trans BIPOCs. I know a lot of this BIPOC stuff going on. Yes, there's a QT BIPOC people. Just get rid of it, get over it. It's here. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. But here's the deal. The politicians have not had a change in heart. They've only modified their image to give the perception of a change in heart. Now, many of you people may be wondering, Dr. Usher, that really doesn't sound as bad as various talk shows have stated. Well, you would be right. Look, these talk shows only share with you the stuff that they want you to hear so it will boost their ratings and generate more income. People, it's all about the Benjamins. If they don't get you riled up, they know you're not going to tune in. So they're going to share with you some of the bad stuff and not share with you the whole story. And that's what I'm kind of I'm not going to lie, that's why I'm kind of disenfranchised with the conservative movement, because we used to be a movement of truth, but now it's a movement of, hype and sensationalism. And, Democratic Party used to, at one point, speak the truth, and they're all about, politics and lying and not really telling everybody the truth. So I'm coming at it from the middle. I'm just going to tell you the truth. And you can just research it yourself because, again, I'm going to stand by this, And I just want you to know, I'm 100% community supported, like I stated before. And I don't have to lie or manipulate the truth. So I'm free to give you the truth. So you can take what I said to the bank because it's the truth. Now, let's move on to answering the second question. Are there any ramifications for teaching this in public schools? Now, my answer may surprise you, being that I'm a BIPOC folk. It may surprise you that my answer is yes. I do have a concern about this being taught in public school, but not because of critical race theory itself. Rather, it is because of those who wish to utilize it and manipulate it to fit their social narrative. For example, now look, I ain't trying to put nobody down. I'm just a guy just trying to speak the truth. But I'm going to give you an example of this author by the name of Carol Anderson. She's an author of a book about how our Second Amendment rights, has been used throughout history as a tool to oppress BIPOC folks. She believes that the Second Amendment should be treated with the same vigor as the 3/5 clause, which she says, and I quote, it should be indefensible. Because as you know, the 3/5 clause was in our Constitution at one point, where it said that black people were only 3/5 human, 3/5 person or whatever. And so with the same vigor that we remove that or, had an amendment to remove that, she says that, we should do the same thing for the Second Amendment. Now, listen, is she wrong about critical race theory and about how critical race theory explains how throughout history, blacks didn't really enjoy the same Second Amendment freedoms as whites? No, it's a fact. I mean, come on. It's a fact, people. There's history books out there that discuss how When black people got armed, people got scared. When black militias formed, white people got scared, and they passed these laws to prevent black people from owning arms because they're afraid in the beginning of slave revolts like Haiti or some other issue going down with maybe they're going to come back and get us and shoot us all and kill us all, But that's a fact of history. We can't deny that. But what is alarming is the language that pushes an anti-Second Amendment narrative, which could lead listen, she pushes a narrative that could lead the next generation down a path of abolishing the Second Amendment as we know it. Because she thinks that, well, what do we need all these big guns for? Why do we need the Second Amendment if it's only being used to oppress black people? Well, listen, that's true. It was used against us at one point. But remember, we are progressing as a nation. So what would be what would be wrong with, the next generation just abolishing the Second Amendment? Let's just address the issue. What would be wrong with abolishing the Second Amendment? This is what would be wrong with it. And this is what I want everyone to hear. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, progressive, whatever your views are, this is why we need to not follow down this line of thinking that would abolish the Second Amendment as we know it. Because what would be wrong with that is that it would turn our it would be, how can I say it? It would be tyranny. It would be totalitarianism. It would be total government control over us. And the only thing that stops that from happening is Americans who have guns. So as long as Americans have guns, we are assured that those who wish to do us harm and take away our freedoms won't stand a chance. Now, I admit, in the past, it's a fact. Those things were used against us in negative ways. But America has progressed past that. There's still some issues that pop up from time to time. But for the most part, black people can carry guns and black people can defend themselves and nobody really freaks out about it. Only a few things happen from time to time, but it happens to everybody, right? So another reason why I think that critical race theory should not be taught in schools is that certain teachers will teach this theory as a fact, when in fact it's only a theory. I fear that schools will do the same with critical race theory like they did with the theory of evolution. I mean, in short, I personally, I do not trust the teachers to teach this as a theory, especially teachers with a political agenda. They're going to teach this as a fact rather than a theory. So that's another reason why I don't want it taught in schools, because you can't give me the assurance that some teacher with a political agenda is going to teach this as a fact. See, let me be honest. We will never know the real cause for racial injustice in our world. The issue is of the heart. The heart is unknown to man. Only God knows what's in the heart of man. Only God knows, and that's where it will remain until the end of time. Because man cannot know another man's heart. We can say that white people did all this out of fear. Maybe it was. Or we can say white people did this out of hate. Maybe it was. But we really can't narrow down the motives behind why white people in the past did the things that they did to oppress and hold back black people. But because of Christians, we have progressed and we have been enlightened by the Word of God, by the Holy Spirit, to change our ways. And if we keep allowing the Holy Spirit to guide our nation and to guide us as people, everything is going to be all right. And finally, let me answer this final question. Let me answer the third question. How should Christians respond to critical race theory today? First, as Christians, we must understand that you are bearers of truth. If we ignore the truth, then we are no longer children of the Most High God, but rather the bastard children of Satan himself. And I say this to stir you so that you don't turn a blind eye to the truth of our history of racial bias in America. Well, Ralph, you're just saying that because you're black. I'm saying it because it's true, and you guys know it's true, so quit turning your blind eye to it. Okay? Don't turn a blind eye to it. Our response to the nuggets of truth found within critical race theory should be one of recognition and also resolve, because we recognize how politicians use our governing system and laws to oppress BIPOC people. But we are also resolved in the effort to create equality and a more just union for everybody. So rather than be afraid or intimidated by critical race theory, listen, people, use it as a tool to help BIPOC folks see how their issues, are just tools of manipulation used by people in power to remain in power. Let them know that true change comes from where, people? Come on, every Christian knows. True change comes from where? The heart. And a person who has a true change in heart is no longer motivated by the attainment or maintaining of benefits. Rather, he or she is willing to sacrifice everything for the cause of truth and justice, even to the point of death. That's what happens, everyone, when there's a heart change. See, these politicians are playing us for a fool. Let's just be real. They're up there acting like, oh yeah, I had to change your heart. I believe that black people should have civil rights. I believe that gay people and trans people should have human rights. And the only reason why they're doing that is because there's political benefit for them to stay in power. The very same people that are giving us these rights and freedoms are the very same people with the other hand behind our back, slapping us with more regulations, more laws, more things to oppress us. It's not setting us free. It's oppressing us. Listen, Jesus said in Luke 6:35, love your enemies, do good, lend, and don't expect anything in return. This is true change. This is the type of heart change that can only come through a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Listen, you can't trust the motives of those politicians because, let's be honest, the critical race theory does expose the fact that they're just using this as a tool to manipulate minority groups. And in reality, it's not really creating change. It's just creating more division, more strife, and more problems. And that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to keep things confused and messed up in such a way so they are guaranteed a position of power. And until you recognize that, you'll always be bound and bond and in chains by that system. So, I hope I answered all your questions and concerns. And as I close, let me remind you of my famous saying, do as much good as you can while you can. This is Dr. Usher saying, God bless. This is it. I answered all your questions about critical race theory. Share with a couple of your friends. And if you have any discussions, this be on my website probably in a couple of days. So visit drusher.com and you can leave comments there. You can leave comments here, or you can send me a personal message. No matter what, let me know what you think about what I said and if I left out anything or what. This is time to talk about it. My forum is a safe place for all thoughts, not just conservative, not just progressive. Everyone has a voice here without fear or intimidation. Share your thoughts. Let Dr. Usher know what you think. With that being said, God bless and goodbye.